Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and I've been having issues with my computer recently, so we're going to do this video without any intro, outro, editing, or visuals. It's not ideal, but let's see what we can do because this is a topic I really want to talk about it, and unlike other videos I have filmed, I don't want this to sit for a few days because it might get stale. So, there's been a lot that's being discussed about Disney Plus right now. Right now, one of the big news items is that Bob Iger has confirmed that there will eventually be a one-and-all app that will include Disney Plus, Hulu, and possibly ESPN content. That is not surprising. I fully expect them to go in this direction at one point anyway. That is a topic that's for a completely different video, but it's worth mentioning that big changes are afoot. There's also been news that Disney lost around 4 million subscribers. This could be a combination of basically not having enough new original shows that people want to see, the pandemic officially being declared over by the WHO, and of course, raising the prices and pissing a lot of people off because now what they were paying for an ad-free experience, they are now paying for an ad-filled experience, and a lot of people took great offense to that, including me, though I didn't cancel my subscription. But the big thing that I want to talk about, and I'm kind of surprised that despite the fact that this has been the news for 24 hours, no one really seems to be, at least in print or the media, publicly wondering what the implications of this are, is that Disney announced that they are going to start removing content from their streaming platforms. Now then, they are not the first ones to do this. In fact, HBO Max, soon to be Max, kind of got the ball rolling by starting to remove some HBO Max originals. Sorry, my nose is itching. That's the problem with not being able to edit. Like Santa Incorporated, what was it? I think that's what it was. And that Seth Rogen film and, just a lot of original programming. They just got removed from the platform. And that started getting people thinking, well, shoot, this stuff was supposed to be there forever. And if it's not going to be there forever, and I like that show and they remove it, what happens to that show? Does it officially not exist anymore? And then there were a couple Netflix series that have been taken off their platform too. I mean, of course, the Marvel stuff because Disney bought the rights, but one of the first shows they created, whose name forget. So if you remember what it is, you can comment below. I did a video on it in the past. They've removed that. And considering these shows don't have physical media releases, it's like, well, what does that mean for the future? So Disney is going to start removing content of their own, and this is not surprising because clearly you can't have everything you own on a streaming service. What people do not understand is that putting content on servers takes up space, it costs money. And much like this horrific situation recently where Funko admitted that they were going to be destroying millions of dollars worth of Funko Pops, like just throwing them in a landfill because it was costing them more to store it than it was to wait for them to sell, so too are these companies purging their servers of stuff that people are not watching and is not driving subscriber growth because it is costing them more just to sit there than it is to just take them away and not let anyone watch them. Now again, that's one of the bigger discussions about this that is probably saved for another video, but there was a line in this announcement from one of their executives, McCarthy. And one of the things that she said was that Disney Plus was going to evolve or at least shift to a more curated experience. She said it's not going to be like a purge, it's going to be like a surgical cut on what they're going to be doing with Disney Plus and probably Hulu and ESPN as well. And that's the comment that's not getting a lot of discussion, and you can probably guess by the title, but what I think that means is that Disney is bringing back the much hated, much loathed, much we didn't miss it at all, Disney Vault. Now then, before we continue, I am going to state up front that there is nothing wrong with curated content per se. One of my favorite streaming services is the Criterion channel. That is curated. And it makes sense for it to be curated because Criterion channel is trying to introduce people to unique films and works of art. And what they do by curating it is like, we have these themes, we have these celebrations, we have this month thing. Here's what's going up for a month. This is what you can watch. It's going to be gone. And then this is what's going to be coming in. And they kind of drive you to experience new things. There is nothing inherently wrong with that. That's what curated means. And I think places like Mobi also have curated content. And of course, one of the big disadvantages of just throwing everything in the service is that things get lost. So curation in some ways helps keep movies in the eye because people are aware that it's going to be there and they are aware that it's going to be going away. And so they will watch it preferably before it goes away. But here's the thing. Disney movies sell themselves. They always have, and they always will, and there will always be a demand to watch them on some level. Now, first of all, I do want to acknowledge that if you're a fan of vintage Disney content like I am, be a little concerned. That might be some of the first stuff to go. I bet you all those old Mickey Mouse shorts, those silly symphonies, those will go away, and they might only be brought back for certain anniversaries or stuff like that. I do not believe that that stuff is being watched very much. If it was, Disney might put more of it on Disney Plus. But here's where the bigger thing is going to be. Disney has been always masterful. Really, it's an art of basically always keeping demand open. They control the supply and thus they control the demand. You know, whenever the reason the Disney Vault exists, and this has existed long before even home video, where Disney, the company, realized that if they waited 7 or 8 years to put a movie back in the theaters, they would have a whole new generation of kids who would want to see that movie. And this would become like a tradition for families. You know, you see Snow White one year, but you better see it in theaters now because you won't have a chance to see it for another 10 to 12 years. That's how it worked. Then VHS came along and the same thing was happening. We're going to release it on VHS for a very limited amount of time, probably 90 days or so, and then we are going to discontinue it. And even though there are people that are still buying it and they would still buy it, we are going to release it in 8 years in the future. This means that the video is always in demand and they never have to actually discount those videos. You know how, well, some of you might be too old to remember VHS. I do. I remember like there'd be like the Fox Classic Collection, and these videos would be like 10, 12, sometimes $5 a piece because they've just been out forever. Disney movies, you never saw them at $10 or $5 because it was a limited time only. And they have been very, very successful with that model. And when Disney Plus came along, it's like we're putting it all on there except for Song of the South, obviously. Like that was seen as the end of the Disney Vault. It's the end of the Disney Vault. Sell your Blu-rays, sell your DVDs. In fact, Disney pretty much said, yeah, you can get rid of those physical medias. It's always going to be on Disney Plus. Some of my friends foolishly did just that. And here's why that's foolish, because when I see curated content from McCarthy, a big Disney executive who's in charge of the programming at Disney Plus, I see where this is going. Folks, this is not confirmed. This is me totally speculating. But make no mistake, the Disney Vault is coming back. Why on earth would Disney ever give that up? It is the most effective tool that they have to drive sales to their movies. And they are going to use this to drive sales, or subscriptions, I should say, to Disney Plus. And they will do it in 2 ways. Now, first of all, I don't think it's going to be like an 8-year thing. It might be like a 2 or 3 year difference. Like they might select a certain amount of movies, and like, okay, it's on Disney Plus for a limited time. Subscribe and watch it as many times as you can before it's gone. That's going to be their big pitch. And then that one will go down, like let's say it's Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp will be up for a couple months. You have 2 months to watch as much as you want. Then it's going to go down. But oh, now Aladdin is going to Disney Plus, and that will be there for a couple months. And not only will people subscribe to Disney Plus to see their favorite Disney movie, but they might keep it because the Disney movies are always changing. And if you cancel your subscription, there is a chance that there is a Disney movie you will be missing, and you will not be able to see it again for another couple of years. Very sneaky, right? And guess what? You just threw away all those physical media copies, so you have no choice. You have to keep paying Disney forever for Disney Plus. That's probably what they're going to do. Now, I could see them also including something, you know how there was that Premier Access thing that they tried during COVID where like you could pay $30 to unlock Mulan, or you can unlock Jungle Cruise or unlock Black Widow. For $30 you can unlock it on Disney Plus. I think that's going to come back too. Not with new movies. And this is like really outside the box thinking. I could be completely wrong about this one. But let's say they bring Lady and the Tramp back and Disney says, okay, here's the thing. You've got, 2 months to watch Lady and the Tramp. But, if you want to extend it, not keep it per se, but if you want to extend it for a certain amount of time, let's say, maybe they say for a couple of years, pay $30, you have access to this movie for 2 more years, so long as you're subscribed to Disney Plus. I mean, what an insidious way to get you to actually continue to pay for Disney Plus and give them more money for things that you don't own. Now, does that mean Disney's going to take away their iTunes store and not sell movies on Google Video or whatever it's called? No, probably not. And again, this is like a long shot thing, but I can see Disney really strong-arming the consumers because they always have. The Disney Vault was a great way to strong-arm, to guilt-trip parents into buying movies. Even movies that maybe they didn't necessarily want to own. Like, I don't think The Fox and the Hound, for example, would have sold nearly as many copies. It was always available. It's a fine movie. It's a simple movie. But it's a limited time. Heck, I don't think anyone would buy Melody Time if it was always available. But it's a limited time thing. It's going in the vault for 90 days. And so people paid $30 for those video cassettes because what else were they going to do? What if they found out one day that they did want to watch Melody Time and it was no longer available? The Disney Vault was a stroke of curated supply and demand. And with Disney Plus, they can easily do this. And the fact that they said curated, I think that went over a lot of people's heads. But I suspect Disney Vault coming back. And that's going to be their way to drive subscriber growth. Now, as far as The Purge goes, aside from old vintage Disney stuff, I also think shows like Diary of a Future President and things like that will also go. Maybe Love, Victor for wherever it is on the international markets. Like things like those will go because the shows were not huge hits and I don't think anyone really watches them anymore. That new Mighty Ducks show, probably gone for all I know. But that being said, I think the key thing to pay attention to is that curated content comment. Because I believe that Disney's going to use that to bring back the Disney Vault. And why shouldn't they? It's their greatest weapon that they have. It sucks, but that's what they're going to do. And if I were you, if there's some physical copies of these movies that you love, that you can buy easily, buy them, keep them, and basically don't let Disney manipulate them. Not manipulate them, manipulate you. This is how you beat the mouse. Physical media, you own it. You don't have to be manipulated like this. But with that being said, I'd like to know, what do you think about this? Do you think the Disney Vault is coming back? Would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. Because this is not going to be edited, I have to reach over and turn the camera off. Hopefully my computer will be working again soon.